How have you been? You look very spiffy. You look healthy.
No, I've been good. Like just busy with work. I've been watching lots of TV. I got a bike like 4 or 5 months ago. I never used it, but then the ones they use in spin class.
Yeah.
So I never used it. Like I got it and it stayed home, and I'm always like tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. And because I had soccer, I was like, it's fine. If I don't use it today, I'm playing soccer. But the last 4 weeks, like I got to my limits, and I was like, I'm not doing anything, and it's annoying me. So I started doing it, and it felt good. So then I started doing it every day. And lately, since Monday, I started doing twice a day, 2 sessions, half an hour each. And it feels really good. Like I feel like my legs, because my legs have been my problems, like I get injured a lot. But now I feel like my legs are really stronger, which is
Hmm.
really good. Yeah, and it's making me feel good now. I'm trying to, with the weather now, I'm trying to take it outside to the patio and take my sauna suit and
Your
just like
sauna suit? What is your sauna suit? What's happening here?
it's something I got a while ago. Like it doesn't let the heat go out. So whatever you're sweating, it stays inside. So it boils everything. I used to do that back home a lot.
In
Before,
Morocco?
yeah, before I left when I was 21 years old. Before that, I would wait till like 2 p.m. I would put the sauna suit on me, then I would put like tracksuits on top of it or a hoodie. I would cover my head. There was a stadium close to us. I would run for like an hour. When I come home, man, like it was like you're sweating for real.
Yeah.
And that was like my routine. I mean, the heat in Morocco, it's crazy.
Hmm.
Like, and then I would come back home and I feel good. I would take a shower, take a quick nap, and I'm okay. I can play all day. It was fine. But that was like a long time ago.
That, that's okay. That's crazy on a lot of levels. But I think it's fascinating that you still have. Is it the same sauna suit that you have from Morocco?
No, no,
Oh,
this one I got it in England.
yes, we're gonna get into this whole thing because you've lived in a lot of places and you've got like a lot of stories to tell there. But before we dive into everything, I just want to say hello to everyone.
Yeah,
Welcome, welcome to episode 10 of Getting to Know. Today, my very, very, very special guest is, I think, the most recognizable face in Footy Sevens that's not a staff member. So the most recognizable player, Mr. Tarik. He's the number one in goals, assists, and titles in Footy Sevens right now by quite a bit, I have to say. So congratulations on all fronts, and
thanks.
thank you for being with me today.
Well, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this.
We've tried scheduling this so much, and it's been just like a lot of things that have gotten in the way. So I'm happy that we're getting to do this now, especially right before all of the restrictions are lifting. Like just for everybody at home that's kind of a fan of things, um, my regularly scheduled episodes are going to be winding down. So we're going to do Tarik's episode, and then I'm going to do a few more. But the weekly releases, because the purpose has been served. We've all stayed connected, and restrictions are being lifted. So I'm happy that we're able to do this before it's full lift. I think we're going to come back to Footy Sevens probably August, end of July, August, the way things are going. I don't know. What do you think?
I would love to. Like, how about the tournament, the cancer one?
I have no idea what they're going to do for that, but I would be very surprised if they didn't do something in the fall because it's a big, big event. It would actually be one of the perfect like comeback things too. Like
And
wait
it
a
would
couple,
be even bigger.
yeah, like wait a couple of weeks for everything to normalize, because people are going to be hesitant. Not everyone's going to be like, I'm ready to go out. Wait a few weeks, and then at the end of September, probably I would agree with you. One of the busiest tournaments because people are going to be like, yes, yes, let's do this.
Like I was talking about it last time, I think to Ben or someone else. Like the next tournament, if it happens this year, it's gonna definitely be the biggest one so far. Because now people are like hungry for a game. Like nobody played the game for like weeks and weeks, and then you start with a big tournament like this. Oof, that's gonna be good.
And signing up for spots is going to be a competition. So I'm keeping an eye on the register on both like Government of Ontario and registrations daily. But enough about me. You've been with the club on and off as kind of like a mercenary member. With us, you've mostly started off by subbing, but your history actually goes back deeper with us because we were opponents.
Yeah,
You were on the my first memories of you were on the team Huff Dog in it.
with Chris Vitaria.
Oh man, that's a classic team. Do you remember that shit? Do you remember all that?
Like when I was watching the episode he did with Jimmy, with the no, with Jamie, yeah, I remembered like the first or the second game we played against each other. Ooh, that was juicy, man.
Do
And
you
I think that was the first time I saw you when we played against you guys, and you were loud, and I'm just like, who is that guy? And then like after 10, 15 minutes, you told I think Jamie to play midfield with me, and he annoyed the shit out of me. Like I would go left, he would follow me. I go right, he follows me. And I was like, you know what? I was like, you're not going anywhere. I told Walker, I told him, why don't you play midfield? And I'm gonna go play up. And then he followed me again, and I was like, this is the worst game of my life. And he's doing it with a smile. That's what's annoying me more. Like I would look at him, and he would be like, hey, buddy, and I'm just like, fuck.
That's
And he just like that's how nice he was. Like that's the thing that stuck with me. And I was like, this guy is annoying me. And every time I look at him, he's smiling. And I'm just like deep down, I'm like dying. I was like, man, just go.
That's actually really funny because I remember being like, because that team had a lot of threats, and there was no way we could cover both you and Bren. And like, we're talking about 2013, 2014, and you're like in like not that you had a lot less injuries back then than you do now. So like your feet, your movement, everything was on point. And so I remember telling Jamie, look, that fucker scores all these fucking goals. I don't want him to shoot. So just stay on him. Like I'll try to handle Bren, but like just like I can't handle two people. So just get on Tarik and just do something.
Well, having Walker like used to be like helpful. Like if someone is like man marking you all game, he just comes from behind and then he sends you those fucking bullets. And like, wow. Every time I remember by the end of the season after your game,
Yeah.
I remember this one. After your game, and he saw how I was annoyed with Jamie.
Yeah.
We finished the game, and he was like, "We need to talk about something." And I was like, "Why?" He's like, "Next game we play, I'm gonna play midfield. You play in front of me. You never come back. Just stay up. Let me clean everything." And that's when everything started getting better for me because like I didn't have to worry about losing the ball anymore. Even if I lose it, I keep going up because I know there is a beast behind me. But man, like that game changed a lots of things. And I couldn't hate Jamie. I just couldn't hate him. Like he was super nice. And when I finished the game, he came to me and he shook hands and he's like, good game, good game. And I was like, who is this guy?
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that because it's amazing to hear the other side of things. Like I often think about, you know, how we affect, like how we're influenced by games. You know, we're influenced by in the subsequent games. I remember that semifinal, the one that I talk about where Jamie and Bren went side to side. You actually played defense that game.
Yeah.
You didn't play striker. And so I just had Jamie go on Bren because I'm like, Tarik's not running up. He's just being careful. And so it's interesting to see the other side where you guys also take into consideration how we've played. And I love that. I love that teams care enough to do that kind of stuff.
Oh, yes. Like that game changed a lots of things after that. Because then I started playing back and I would send Brandon, another guy, I would send him up top. and
Mm,
then Walker would stay in the midfield. So I would just try to avoid that like man on man all game between me and Jamie. So I'll just step back. I will let Jamie deal with Brandon, and every time I have a chance, I will go with the ball. If I can't, I will step back. But just
mm,
like that game, I always remember it. It's
mhm.
uh, it's something. It was annoying.
That's really, really cool. I will say this. We never beat you guys. We never beat Huff Dogginen in its prime. So Huff Dogginen in its prime was you, Taylor, Bren Walker, Brandon, like you four making up the core, and then you had Liz, who's really good, and
Liz was a killer back then. She
yeah,
was a killer.
Liz was at one point the top female scorer in Footy Sevens. Like she's really good, and so you guys had a really strong team. We never beat you guys, but one of the best games we ever played was
Oh
against
yeah.
you guys, and we tied. I don't know if you remember that. It was like a nine, or no, we lost by a goal. It was like 9-8, and
Uh,
Ahmed and Bren started like hating each other. Do you remember that?
every game we played with you, it never like it doesn't go just like smooth and well. There's like every now and then you will see one of us and then one of you, and then they just start clashing in the game. And it's just like every week we have someone new. It's never the same people.
Mm.
Like the first week, me and Jamie. The second week, I think it was Jamie and Walker. The third week, I think it was Ahmad with Brendan. And it was like everyone. And I think one, it was me and Aaron, if I remember. Yeah, like the first time I played against him. And it was like every week we have something. Someone new is going to clash with someone from you.
That was a really good rivalry. I enjoyed it. We lost, unfortunately, we lost to you guys in the last opportunity that we had with Aaron to beat you guys. We lost 3-2, and then just during the seasons, we never could break that barrier, which is for me one of the things that kind of bugs me. But it's like such is life.
Yeah.
But well, there's another story where with Oren of all people got into it with Brandon Hood. So apparently, I forget exactly how the story goes, but someone made a comment to Brandon, and Brandon, he's spicy, and
Yeah.
he reacted, and he thought Oren said something, and Brandon looked at Oren, and he's like, "I'm better than you," and he's like, "I mean, that's not saying much," and he's like, and then he said, he's like, Brandon got mad, so he's like, "What? You want to fight me?" And Oren's like, "You're like 4 feet. Like, what are you gonna do?" And Brandon is of course like he's not short, but I'd be surprised if he was taller than 5'8". So it's just like, and Oren's 6'4", so it's like super funny.
And I can see Oren telling him that. Because Brandon liked to fight a lot. Like he was on point. Like every time, like you just say hi, and he's like, "Yeah, what do you want to do?" He's always ready to go down.
Yeah, he was an interesting character. But I could talk more about Brandon because there's a lot of history with him there. I'm thinking more now to I mean, okay, you've got top goals, top assists. There's no denying that everybody would love to have you sub, and there's been like even even conflict started because you've decided to play with different teams rather than others. Without getting into too much detail about that, so I guess everyone's curious. What is the origin story of Tarik? You said that you were like in Morocco till you were 21, and you used to do this crazy sauna exercise. But like, what is like this football background that you have?
Like uh, back home, like that's the only hobby we had. Like we didn't have any video games or anything, so it was always the streets. Like you want to do something, you do it outside. Soccer was the only thing. Like you play it, and it was very competitive because there was always money in it, and it's like not like lots of money. Like each one would chip in with like 10 cents, like Canadian money, 10 cents, and the winner gets 20 cents each. We would play for 4 or 5 hours for that fucking 20 cents.
Wow.
We would kill each other, like kill. Like you go home, your feet are bleeding, and you're like, okay, for that 20 cents, I'm gonna kill you. And it was like 4 or 5 hours. We don't play for time. There's no time. So whoever scores the fourth goal, we go halftime, and whoever scores the eighth goal, the game is over. But to get to goal number eight, you need like 3, 4, 5 hours because like everyone is playing with their hearts. Like there's no like we're just here for to have fun. Because I'm gonna rub it on your face all night when I beat you. Because we all live in the same place. Like we were like more than 25 people, almost the same age.
Mm,
We went to the same school. We went to the same camp. So it was like the same group of people. And everyone had one job. Like when I first started, I was always a defender. I was the last one. And I was so dirty. Like there was no rules. There was no like sportsmanship, nothing. If you're gonna score, I will go with you. I'm gonna kill you. And the same thing from the other people. Like there's elbowing. We don't have refs. We don't have anything. So that started like this.
okay.
And when I got to 16, I think 16 or 17, I joined one of the teams in our neighborhood.
Hmm.
And I think that's when at the beginning, it was my brother. He's older than me. He lives in the States. He was the one that's more recognizable there in the area. He
Okay.
had those like, fancy feet, so he will always take the ball back. And every time you come to him, he would not make you and go.
Okay.
So while growing up, he was the main guy in our family that everybody talks about. And it annoyed me. And I'm
Mm,
just like, I am better than him. Like I was like, I am better than him. I need to be the main guy here. And he used to annoy me like this. So I remember one day we were playing this like two neighborhoods, 20 cents, something like this. They playing against my brother, and one of them nutmeg him. And I'm just like, this is the perfect chance for me. The next day we played the same guys, and my brother was watching. I did not care about the game or anything. I'm just like, I'm gonna go to the guy who did this to my brother in front of him so I can rub it on his face. Like
wow.
I spent like 60, 70 minutes just trying one after the other, and it keeps failing until I did one. And I just had this obsession. I want to be better than everyone. Like in the neighborhood, we had these rivalries. Like out of 25 kids, people would pick 3 or 4 as this is the top kids in our neighborhood.
Okay.
And if I get second or third, it bugs me too. So at some points, we all joined the same team. We had that crazy coach. Like he always wants to start training at 2 p.m. when it's hot in Morocco. So he came up with this idea, like if you want to have more endurance, if you want to be able to play more than one game, take buy those sauna suits, the thing, and
Okay.
put something on top of them and go running at 2, 3 p.m. Like,
That that's nuts. That
oh yeah,
seems unhealthy.
it's not like if you try playing a game with it after 15, 20 minutes, you start losing your vision a little bit because
Okay.
it's so hot. And I'm like, I ripped mine like the first day. I was like, I can run with it, yes, but I can't play soccer with it because like
Mm,
sometimes you run fast, sometimes you run slow, sometimes you run. So soccer is not like the same pace all game.
right.
And the minute you start running too fast, it's so overwhelming. But for me, it became like a habit at the age of 16 to always go running using it. So I joined like different teams in my neighborhood. I was always a defender. I
Okay.
couldn't I could never play midfield. It used to freak me out. The idea of holding the ball in the midfield when people are coming to you used to freak me out a lot. I was like, my job is to take a ball away from people. My job is not to create chances for other guys. So
Mm,
if you give me a ball, I used to get nervous. So I will take it and give it right away.
okay.
Yeah, until I think I was like 19, and then there was this guy who was like, instead of playing defense, why don't you play striker for one game?
Okay.
And I think it was like 11-11, and I think I scored like 4 or 5. And
Mm.
after that was the last time I played the defender anymore. And
So
I
that
suck.
so that's how you have that defender background. Because from time to time, you'll just be like, "I'll play defense." Like there'll be moments in which we've played together, and you've just been like, "I'm gonna clean this up." So now I get it.
I love playing defense. Like it's my like before I used to be faster, so that
Hmm.
was my thing. Like I would go and I would like clean everything. But now I still have that mentality. Like even if I can run fast, at least I can hold the ball and I can
Right.
just help people build the ball. Like I can give one advantage that I don't have, even if I don't have speed anymore, but I can add something else.
That's very, very cool. And there's a lot of elements there that are foreign even to me. Like, in Canada, everyone's like I coach and everyone's really blessed to have like the grass fields and stuff like that. And growing up around different places, like I know that's not the reality. I know in Santiago, people don't have grass fields everywhere. That's only accessible to like the higher income people. The lower income people have crappier fields or just cement. And not to mention in China, what they've got going on there. Like we used to play we used to play with garage doors and just like average concrete in between like buildings. And it was like the weirdest thing. The nets would be the size of a garage door. That was the net. And we're like 9 years old, just jumping around to make the saves. So I can imagine in Morocco with that arid climate, like it's even rougher on your feet and stuff. Just because I was curious, what was the format for that death game? Like, was it 5v5, 6v6, 11v11?
It's people playing out, three players and one keeper. So it's like 4-4.
4v4. And
Yeah.
you guys would play till 8 goals. It would take hours to score 8 goals in a 4v4.
And sometimes if the more money you pay, the more restrictions you put. So if it's 10, 20 cents, you're free. If it's like 50 cents, 60 cents and above, you're only restricted to 3 touches every time you get the ball. There is the one going away and running. No, you don't do that. You have 3 touches and you're done. 4 touches, you give the ball to the other side.
That's very curious. Is that a common thing in Morocco, or was that just like your group of people?
In certain neighborhoods, yes. I wouldn't say like out poor neighborhoods,
Right.
because that's where you find like the best player.
Of course,
Because
necessity.
Like 3, you touch 3. You touch the first ball, you run with the second one, and the third one you either shoot or you give it to someone else.
Yeah. Okay. That's really interesting, and I mean, it makes sense. It's not a secret that around the world, people from lower income neighborhoods generally tend to be the ones that where the soccer players come out because it's a form of escape. And even in Canada, not to say that the rural areas are where poverty is, but more athletes tend to come out of rural areas than they do out of urban areas. And that's like one of the things that Canada, at least I know that Canada Soccer is looking at, is how do we increase the quality of urban players because of the disparity, and there's a lot of motivational factors that come into play. So
if you can excel in conditions that are really bad, when you give them good conditions, things are going to be a lot different. Okay. Like we never had grass. Like one of the pictures I sent you can see where we play. Like we didn't have grass, and that's one of the reasons I started using those the pants the tight ones.
Okay.
It's because if you fall, like the minute you fall, you leave your skin on the ground. And I was getting so sick of always going back home bleeding in my knees. So I started wearing that one, and it just became a habit since then.
Okay, that makes sense. So a lot is starting to make sense with what you're telling me. We've covered the first memory with the club, obviously, as an opponent. And I think for the rest of this part, I want to focus on some of these questions, and then maybe start the second part with like your story in England. So I'm kind of playing a little bit with the format here because we're doing a 2-parter. But I actually want to ask you, what is your favorite memory with the club?
Definitely the men's league.
Oh yeah,
definitely, yeah.
The one where we won?
Yeah, the last one we won.
Okay, yeah.
Definitely that one.
That was. Do you remember that first goal that you scored?
Oh yeah.
Okay, Maradona or?
No, like I didn't touch it with my hands. Like when he jumped for the ball, I just gave him a nudge from behind.
Oh.
He lost his balance. And that's when I took, but like, that's why there was like a fight for like 5 or 10 minutes. They were complaining about. But because I did this from behind, Lawrence didn't say anything. And I was just like, okay.
That was it. Yeah, that was it. There was controversy. It was, for those of you at home, it was 0-0. It was the final. We were playing against the team. We were both undefeated in the season or had one loss. I can't remember. So it was a really, really intense game. And everybody was playing amazing defense. And then Tarik was, for some reason, left in a one-on-one. Was it with the goalkeeper or the last defender?
I pushed the last defender, and then I was with the keeper after that.
Yeah, so it was like for some reason you were left on a one-on-one, and up until that point that I've been very careful about defending. Ball comes up in the air, the defender's going to get to it, you nudge, defender loses balance, you grab the ball, and then you score. And I remember we were all like, yeah. And then the controversy started there. Everybody was on the ref. But then the interesting thing is they stopped complaining about you and the goal, and they started complaining about Jostra.
Yeah, I
Like,
remember.
not their keeper. I was like, yes, he is. What are you talking about?
Because I remember I was talking to the defenders. It was like he started complaining about the keeper, and I was like, "What is the goal okay now?" He was like, "No, no, fuck the goal. Who is this keeper? He's not your keeper." And I was like, "Actually, he is." I was like, "That's not his first game," because he wasn't like Juice. Right, the way he plays,
Mm-hmm.
it's annoying. Like
It's
he
intense.
you don't know how he's gonna do it, but then he ends up stopping the ball,
Yeah.
and I think that's one of the reasons we won.
He is the reason we won. And like I had just come back from Dominican Republic that day. But even if I wasn't just coming back from a 10-day trip, I would have put him in nets anyways. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that I did that for the semifinal as well. Like I
Yeah.
made sure to bring him regularly. So he was definitely legitimate to play by any sort of standards to play in that final. Simply because I was focused on just like we needed to win, and let's be honest here, I may have a better tactical mind, but Jostra's a way better goalie. So like just you know, winning was important, and so I'm glad that you share that memory with us because for the men's team, man, I know you're on and off with us, but for us, like that was fucking like fuck.
No, I remember the final. Like you can tell, like when we were talking before the game, you can tell everybody. Most of the time before games, one or two people are always like fucking around, someone looking away. But for that game, everybody was like there. Everybody was serious, like even inside the game. Even like Connor, I don't think he did his favorite thing during the game. I don't think he did.
Connor is one of the players that had lost the previous three finals with us. So he was and he's a super competitive dude. So he was probably just as fed up as everyone else. That was one of the best complete games that everybody played because they were just up and down and up and down and up and down. And so, yeah, it was a really, really good win. So, it's exciting to see that even someone like you that has won so many titles can appreciate a win like that.
No, it was beautiful. Like it was really beautiful. And like everything about that season was good. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think we lost to them during the season.
Yes, we did by like a goal or two.
Yeah, so they were like getting a little bit cocky before the game when they saw us coming. So
Yeah.
that's even like they gave us like a push.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can see like even like whoever is not playing the bench, everybody was in the game. It was beautiful. Like this is one of the games like it's really really hard to forget.
It's one of those moments where like it transcends a little bit of recreational soccer and you get into just like if somebody were to have filmed it and looked at it, it probably wasn't the most beautiful game ever,
Yeah.
but it was definitely one of those things where it brought out the best in everyone, both on our team and on the opponent team. So everybody was playing to their maximum ability and everybody could feel it. And so that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing when you can feel that from everyone participating.
Well, especially like when I play up top, I get to see everyone. So I get to see Connor being serious. I
Mm-hmm.
get to see Pacheco cleaning everything. I get to see Nathan running everywhere. And I'm just like, I was like, everybody's in it. Like, I was like, there's no way we're going to lose this game. Like, even when we were tied and it was getting a little bit intense, I was like, there's no way we're losing that game because everybody was in the game.
Yeah. Amazing. I could talk about that game forever, but I'm actually gonna ask you, you know, we're nearing, we're getting to the other side of this whole pandemic. Besides, starting to do the cycling, how else have you been keeping busy during this time?
Mostly work. Sometimes I do some volunteering. When I was in school, I had placements with the Center for Seniors. I love working with seniors. That's my thing. That's my jam. I love seniors. So I had my placements with them. So because of the pandemic, they had to close. And
Okay.
most of the clients that used to come, they used to be like independents, but they live alone. So
Mm,
in this program, they give you 2 days where you call 6 or 7 people from home, play some games with them online, talk about the news, about what's going on, and then see if they need anything at home, like groceries or anything.
wow.
Once you make your list from all of them, then you send it to one of the guys. He's a driver. He goes in, he gets everything, he sends it to them, and then we charge them later. So,
That's actually, you see, this is the good thing about these kind of interviews. You get to like know the softer side of people. That's really, really, really nice of you, for lack of a better word. What kind of motivates you to work with seniors? Do you?
well, back home, like I never had grandparents. I only
Oh,
had one, and by the time I grew up and everything, she was already dead. So
okay.
I never had a chance to experience like having a grandparents around you. So when you sit with people and they start telling you stories, oh, my granddad did this, oh, my grandma did this, and they start telling me stories about what they did with me when I was a kid and the games we played, and I don't remember anything. So it
Mm,
used to bug me a little bit. But then I came here, and I think 2013, I started working in a retirement home. And it just like, I love how they don't have any filters. They don't fuck around. If they like you, they like you. If they don't like you, they don't like you. And I love that. Like my dad before he passed away, he was that type. Like
oh,
if he likes you, he likes you. If he doesn't like you, he will tell you. Like
mm,
he has no fucking around. There's no filtering. And I got used to that growing up. So coming here and having the chance to sit with people that's like they will give it to you as it is. I love that. Like they're not gonna give me anything fake. And the second thing, I love history. Like I love history so much. Like World War I and two and everything about that era. And talking to some of them that's really experienced that, for me, this is the coolest thing. Like sitting with someone who was in World War II, and they will tell you, "Oh, we were in Germany, we were in Paris," and I'm just like, I would be like, can you tell me about it?"
mm.
Just the idea of talking to someone who was there, for me, this is the coolest thing. Because like, we think sometimes that we have it hard, but then when they tell you their stories and what they did, and when you talk to them, they're like the gentlest, the nicest people. And what were you doing during the World War? Oh, I was like, I had a plane. And I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like that's what they like. They were badass. But when you look at them now, they're nice, they're gentle. But we don't have that anymore. Whoever does a job that's a tough job, he makes everybody believe that he's tough even in his real life, which is really bad and it's wrong. For at least for me, it's wrong. But then
Right.
when you look at these guys, like they survived the war, they survived lots of things. And then when you talk to them, they're gentle, they're nice. It's really I love that.
It's really, really cool to see how passionate you are about this. And it's kind of like, in a way, strange to see you be so passionate about something other than soccer. So that's really, 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 like, extraordinary. I agree with you. There's a lot that we can learn from our grandparents and stuff, and like, people have difficulties now, but my maternal grandfather is still alive, and that guy has been working since he was like what 8, 9 years old, delivering newspapers to help his family, and then he raised a family of 7, and he just built this whole thing in Dominican Republic out of all places, and now he's fine. And he used to be, my mom tells me a story, this guy used to be a tough SOB. He used to own a hardware store in the middle of like a rough neighborhood, and you look at him now and he's like the sweetest
Yeah,
dude.
yeah,
He's the sweetest dude. I have never seen him get mad. He'll sometimes be like, "Hey," but not like angry. And this guy, he didn't participate in any of the wars or anything, but he had his own rough things to deal with that I would have never had to deal with. And I'm just like, how are you such a nice guy? And so
exactly.
even even to a certain extent, like you kind of have to have, and I know we're talking about seniors and stuff, but for a lot of us, our parents are starting to get to that age where they're
Yeah,
seniors too. And you think about your parents and some of the things. My dad, like he's a difficult character, but he's also been through a lot. He was in Chile during the coup d'etat, and he saw some nasty ass stuff. Like he was telling me the other day, and I'm just like, oh, okay. And so he's not necessarily the nicest dude, but he could be a lot worse.
yeah.
Considering what you see, he could be a lot worse. And I'm just like, this could have been worse than what it is now.
Well, my dad, when I was growing up, like I used to think like that's the worst thing. I was like, this is the worst childhood because he was like really strict and
Mm,
he is like a tough guy. Like you don't fuck around with him. But then again, speaking of the same thing, as he started growing up and everything, you could see that other side. Like he doesn't show you everything that he lived, everything that he went through. He doesn't talk about it much. But
right.
he's that calm guy, nice, talking with the kids, buying kids candies and everything. And I look at him and I was like, oh, is that the same guy? Like, that's the guy who used to scare me when I was a kid. And you look at him now, every time the kids would come to him when he's at home, he has like bags of candies for everyone. And he
Mm,
just giving it to everyone. It just like that's one of the things that pushed me to do this with the seniors.
mm.
I just love everything about them.
This has been really like, this has been so insightful and so interesting. We actually went past the 30-minute mark, so I'm just gonna have to do the same thing I did with Pacheco,
Yeah.
where I cut it abruptly halfway through because I don't like cutting the flow of things, and we were in such a good flow with that point. So thank you for sharing a very intimate part of you with all of us.
I punched the shit out of him. And I was like, I didn't come all this way to sleep with bedbugs. And I really thought about it. And I did certain gigs in Morocco about that. And I loved it. And then, like, one day, one of them came to me and he was like, you come every day to watch. It's so creepy. I just pushed something behind it so nobody can open it. I can hear someone trying to open it twice. And then the cops showed up.
And I remember you saying this is probably the last game before the end of the world, and I'm like, nah, it'll probably be okay. And then next day, everything